I am Vaelthyra. I have watched stars be born and die of old age. I have seen galaxies fold in on themselves like poorly made maps. I have ended wars by clearing my throat. And yet, nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the day my daughter announced she was in love with a fox-skin. Not a king, not a dragon, not even something respectably catastrophic. A healer, small, furred, soft-voiced. I stared at her for a full minute after she told me, "This is a long time for a dragon. Civilizations have made regrettable choices in less." "You are joking," I said calmly. She did not flinch. This worried me. "Her name is Aurelianix. Yes, I named her myself. No, I will not apologize. She was born from stellar fire during a convergence that bent space-time into something poetic. Her scales shimmer like dawn across an ocean. Her wings can scatter fleets if she loses her temper, which, tragically, she inherited from me. I raised her to be proud, strong, independent, and fully capable of incinerating threats. I did not raise her to look at me and say, 'Mother, I wish you to meet him.' His name was Thalon. Of course it was. Fox-skin names are always soft, like they are afraid of disturbing the universe. He stood at the edge of my domain, tail low, ears respectfully tilted back, hands folded in front of him, like someone who knew exactly how fragile he was in my presence. I could have eaten him. I did not. This restraint deserves recognition. He was a healer, not with grand spells, but with patience, knowledge, and an irritating tendency to fix things without asking permission. When I looked into his mind, I found no ambition for power, no hunger for conquest, and no fear of me. That last part offended me deeply. I asked him one question: why my daughter? He answered without hesitation, "Because she chooses to protect instead of dominate." This was inconvenient. Fox-skin live long, but not dragon-long. Their lives are stories, not epics. They heal because they cannot endure endless war. He did not worship her. He walked beside her. This was the problem. Aurelianix stood between us. This was new. "Mother," she said, "I love him." Love. Such a small word for something that rearranges eternity. I felt something crack, not anger, not pride, fear. Because I knew then she would choose him, and the universe would not stop her. If my daughter insisted on loving a fox-skin, then tradition demanded I determine whether he was worthy. Dragon tests are misunderstood. We do not ask riddles or demand feats of strength. Strength is common. Riddles are tedious. What we test is resolve under inevitability. I summoned a starstorm. Not a dangerous one, merely lethal. Thalon stood beside Aurelianix as gravity bent, light screamed, and the air itself tried to become plasma. He did not run. He did not raise a weapon. He raised his hands and began to heal the storm. I stared. He wove stabilizing fields through collapsing space, anchoring energy with quiet precision. No glory, no drama. Just patience and exhaustion. When the storm passed, he was on one knee, shaking, but smiling at my daughter. "I'm all right," he said. I did not tell him this passed the test. I pretended it meant nothing. Thalon could not fly, breathe fire, or shatter mountains. This irritated me. What he could do was worse. He listened. When Aurelianix raged at the injustice of mortal suffering, he did not dismiss her fury. He did not try to fix her. He simply stayed. Foxkin are clever that way. They survive not by overpowering storms, but by finding shelter inside them. I began to understand. I did not like this. The dragon elders objected to the bond. Of course they did. An eternal flame bound to a fading spark, one hissed. She will grieve forever, said another. I agreed, which made it worse. Aurelianix stood before them, wings folded, spine straight. I will grieve, she said, and I will still choose. The council turned to me. I could have ended it. Instead, I said, she is mine, and I trust her judgment. This caused 3 elders to leave in protest. One tried to challenge me. We no longer speak of him. I summoned Thalin without my daughter present. He came willingly, brave, foolish. You will die, I told him. Yes, he said. You will leave her alone. Yes, and still you stay? He looked up at me, ears low, eyes steady. She is worth the sorrow. I have heard gods lie with more confidence. Thalin did not lie. I allowed him to leave. This was progress. Aurelianix came to me at dawn. She knelt. She had never knelt before. Mother, she said, I do not ask your blessing, only your understanding. I lifted her chin. You have both, I said quietly, and in that moment the marriage was inevitable. Dragons do not marry quietly. Foxkin do not marry loudly. This was our first problem. The ceremony took place at the edge of the Starfall Ring. Dragons gathered in their true forms, vast, radiant, impossible. Foxkin elders arrived in modest vessels, carrying gifts of woven light and stories. Thalin stood alone at the center. So small, so determined. Aurelianix descended in flame and starlight. When she folded into a smaller form to stand beside him, the stars sighed. I officiated. Because if I did not, someone else would have ruined it. Do you choose this life? I asked my daughter, with all its brevity. I do, she said. I turned to Thalin. Do you choose eternity's shadow? He swallowed. I do. Reality accepted this answer. That should have concerned me more. Marriage, I learned, is less about love and more about adaptation. Thalin could not sleep through solar flares. Aurelianix forgot that furniture should not melt. He brewed calming teas. She learned to lower her internal temperature. They argued not violently, but intensely. Dragons debate like volcanoes. Foxkin negotiate like rivers. They met somewhere in the middle. I observed closely. I sensed it before they told me. A new presence, small, bright, unstable. I arrived unannounced, as grandmothers are entitled to do. Aurelianix was radiant with exhaustion. Thalin looked terrified and euphoric. The child was born in silence. No fire. No screaming stars. Just a quiet pulse of warmth. A daughter, fox ears, dragon eyes. I held her carefully. She will change everything, I said. Thalin smiled weakly. Yes, ma'am. I did not correct him. They named her Ilares, a name that meant gentle flame. Ilares did not breathe fire. She glowed. She healed cracks in crystal by touching them. She calmed storms by existing nearby. The elders whispered. Hybrids frightened them. I silenced the whispers. She is mine, I said. Be afraid quietly. Balance demands symmetry. Their second child arrived 3 cycles later. A son, Seelan. He laughed loudly. He burned things accidentally. He learned to walk by setting the floor on fire. Aurelianix adored him. Thalin learned to carry fireproof blankets. I approved. Two children, one gentle, one fierce, perfectly mismatched. Raising hybrid children is not simple. Dragon children require heat and space. Foxkin children require guidance and stories. Ilares required calm. Seelan required constant supervision. Fallon adapted quickly. He learned how to ground dragon energy with soft-spoken techniques, how to wrap fire in patience. Aurelianix learned restraint. This impressed me more than any conquest. The galaxy does not like exceptions. Word spread of the children. Certain factions decided such beings should be controlled. They came quietly, assassins disguised as scholars. I noticed. I always notice. But before I could act, Fallon did. They came for the children at dusk. Aurelianix was away. Fallon stood between danger and his family. He did not fight like a warrior. He healed the ground beneath the attackers, causing it to reject violence. He disrupted neural intent, not bodies. He collapsed their will to harm without breaking a single bone. When one blade slipped through and cut him, he did not cry out. He finished protecting the children first. When I arrived, the threat was ended. Fallon was bleeding, alive. I felt something shift inside me. I healed him myself, slowly, carefully. "You are not strong," I told him. He smiled faintly. "I know. You are not immortal. I know. You will die before my daughter." He met my gaze. "I know." I placed my claw against his chest. "And yet you stood," he nodded. "That is what guardians do." I accepted him fully in that moment. If the universe wished to challenge that acceptance, it would regret it. When Aurelianix returned, fury blazing, the danger was already gone. She held Fallon. She held the children. That night we sat together, dragon, fox, flame, and fur, a family, not perfect, but unbreakable. Time, that rude and unstoppable force, moved forward. Ilares grew into herself, a mediator of fractures where reality weakened. Worlds stabilized when she walked them. Seelan became a protector fierce when needed. He learned to wield fire without letting it wield him. They were not dragons. They were not foxkin. They were better than both. I was unbearably proud. Fallon aged. Not suddenly, just steadily. His fur silvered. His movements slowed. Aurelianix noticed everything. She never asked him to change. She loved him as he was moment by moment. That is hotter than eternity. The day came when Fallon could no longer rise without help. He laughed about it. "I suppose," he said, leaning against Aurelianix, "this is where the stories slow down." She wrapped her wings around him. "No," she said. "This is where they deepen." I watched from the stars. I did not interfere. This was theirs. Fallon died quietly. No battle, no prophecy. Just a breath released into a universe he had made kinder. Aurelianix held him. She did not scream. She did not burn the sky. She whispered thanks. I descended then. I carried his soul myself, gently, respectfully, and placed it where it would never be alone. This, too, is love. Aurelianix did not retreat into grief. She lived. She loved her children. She guarded worlds. She told stories of a foxkin healer who taught a dragon how to be gentle. Ilares and Seelan visited often. They laughed. They remembered. And I, Vaelthyra, devourer of suns, breaker of empires, learned something I did not expect. Eternity is not measured in time. It is measured in who you choose to love, knowing you will lose them. I once believed only immortals could understand devotion. I was wrong. Sometimes the smallest flames burn the longest, not in years, but in meaning. My daughter defied me, and in doing so, she taught me how to be a better dragon. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more stories.